Vitalik Buterin, who was on the show a few weeks ago, came up with the idea for Ethereum. You came up with the technical specs to back it up. Now you're working on Polkadot, which, as I understand it, is supposed to bring blockchains together. What is the potential of this?
Well, that's part why we actually started making Polkadot. Curiosity, and it's the same reason that we set down the path of Ethereum back 8 years ago. It's always difficult to predict the real potential of technology until you build it and try it out. But what we're sure of is that Polkadot provides a fundamentally different possibility for the use of blockchains.
So how much traction is Polkadot getting with users, with developers, and who do you consider the main competition?
Well, last time I checked, we were the second biggest developer community outside of Ethereum. So pretty well, I would say. And I think that's a testament to the fundamental possibilities that Polkadot offers developers beyond the smart contract model that we pioneered with Ethereum.
Is it a race to outcompete Ethereum? And if so, who's winning?
Not so much necessarily outcompete, but rather really provide an alternative model of what is possible, something more generalized, something more abstract, something whose capabilities and power are just fundamentally a step greater than what we imagined back in 2014 when we designed and built Ethereum.
Now, there are very strong, passionate, but disparate communities in the cryptocurrency industry. Bitcoin maximalism is strong. Then there's Ethereum with a super passionate user base and supporter base. Is the goal to bring Bitcoin and Ethereum and bring those communities together?
Yeah, that's right in part. One of Polkadot's desires was always to build bridges into other sort of crypto systems. These systems are often essentially moated properties that have very little possibility for interacting between themselves, and certainly not in a fast and secure way. So one of the things that we wanted to solve with Polkadot was the possibility of experimenting in many different directions, whilst also allowing the fruits of these experiments not to have to be a sort of independent and isolated hub, but be able to interoperate with each other.
Do you think there's a drawback to Bitcoin maximalism and the same kind of passion behind the Ethereum community? Does that worry you?
Yeah, I mean, back when we were first beginning Ethereum, there were a lot of, as we say, Bitcoin maximalists, and these guys were sort of shouting us down and saying stuff like it'll never work, and you should just give up now, and all the rest of it. And it's it's unfortunate that when you're just there to push forward the technology, there is this, and often with the same ultimate sort of goals. You want to sort of help decentralize the world. You want to help reduce transaction friction between economic activities, and it's kind of unfortunate that that we have this almost football team mentality where it's like the thing that I'm behind is good, and the thing that everyone else, all the stuff that everyone else is behind, is bad. And I think part of what Polkadot's about is trying to build bridges between those ecosystems and allow this a more sort of moatless, less nationalistic, less maximalistic attitude for these projects.
Now, there are big concerns about regulation, especially in the crypto community, about what looming regulation could mean. Some of SEC Chair Gary Gensler's latest remarks. Have you hired any lobbyists, or are you in touch with anyone in Washington about regulation of the crypto industry?
I mean, yeah, we have a few people that are sort of connected into these conversations. And I think, honestly, I think regulation can be a useful driving force for decentralization. What I see a lot these days is these kind of semi or pseudo decentralized projects that are sort of decentralized in name, but in the technology and the reality of their implementation are really not very decentralized at all. And this is unfortunately having a warping effect on the market. It's changing the direction that resources are flowing to, and it's confusing people. And I think I would hope that regulators can help set this straight a little bit and identify these kind of pseudo-decentralized projects, make it clear who these projects are, and basically either force projects to really be decentralized or bring them in under the same rules that the centralized projects that are providing similar services have to work under.
The problem that Ethereum is battling right now is this issue of flash trades, whereby transactions on Ethereum are visible for a period of time. That makes them vulnerable to these robo-traders picking up a coin, then selling it back quickly at a higher price. This has exploded recently with the help of open source tools. How big a problem do you think this will continue to be?
For Ethereum and other smart contract platforms, a pretty big problem. And this is a pretty good example of why we started down the path of Polkadot. You see, smart contract platforms, although they're often called sort of Turing complete or whatever, they don't really have a very liberal execution model in terms of how you get code to execute on the chain. So the reality is that with Ethereum, we have another smart contract platform, so I don't really want to just single out Ethereum here. We have a transactive execution model. What this means is that code on the chain, this business logic that's driving this trading, is only it's only executed at the behest of users, of transactors, and miners. And this is different to the free execution model that Polkadot espouses, where it's applications, the ones that actually provide the business logic that get to determine what executes and when. And that means that the application can essentially reorder, reinterpret, postpone, delay, transactive input these instructions as it sees fit in order to deliver the application that users want.